Lights up bright, dope, Campbell Stadium is alive. Seminoles rise and fight to survive. Helmet gleam under that blazing sun. Florida State where champions run. Seminole sideline 365. Feel the roar, we're coming alive. Garnet and gold in the battle we thrive. This is our house where legends arrive. Turf torn up under Seminole feet. The war chant pounds to the heart's own beat. Chop through the noise like a storm in the sky. 2025, we reach for the high. Seminole sideline 365.
All right, we are here at Seminole Sideline 365. Welcome back, and thank you for being with us. It's Thursday, July 24th. July's gone by real quick, the 24th, and we're happy to be here. I hope it's beautiful where you guys are. It is here. It's hot, but it's tolerable. But thanks for being with us. I'm here with the old man, and we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, tonight, as the title says, we're going to be talking through our running back preview. And do some analysis and give our thoughts on how we think they'll fare. Last week, if you missed it, we talked through quarterbacks and we've talked through offensive line and given our thoughts there. So if you missed those shows, definitely go back and review those and give us your thoughts. But tonight, it's about running backs. So we'll do that. We'll also talk about ACC Media Days and give our thoughts on what happened this week. It all wrapped up today. So obviously, there were some news and notes that came out of that. And then we'll wrap up with some college football news and some small things to tie the show up. But before we get into that, old man, how is it going?
Hey, man.
You're traveling as always, so
Everything's traveling. So I'm on the road. I'm out in the Cape Cod area, right? So last night, shark fishing, buddy. Shark fishing. You ever done that?
No, I have not.
Okay.
No, I have
now,
not.
we had a great night on the beach with my grandson and his friend and a few other people there. My partner Liz was there. We had a great time. It was a little windy, dark. There was no moon out, and man, it was a cool setup, right? So here's a quick story. Did you catch shark? No, we didn't. We did not catch shark.
Illegal.
But we had two good hits when the reel, it goes click, 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 like on Jaws, and then it goes zzz, zzz. That was awesome, man. And I got a lot of film of that and stuff. But here's the thing. I go back and view some of the video from this. These guys, Christian, my grandson, he gets in a kayak, takes the bait out at least 200 yards at night, okay?
Yeah,
and in the daytime. I shot some film of the daytime. It was about 6:30, 7:30 when we were on the beach.
Yep.
PM.
Yep.
And he takes it out, and he's coming back in, and I'm just shooting film. I looked at it today. And some debate, but not really debatable. There's a fin that comes up behind his kayak, like it's a shark tracking him.
It's probably a sister with one of those like.
No.
things.
It's tracking him, and we've gone over and over the video. And maybe someday we'll push the video up. I'm getting my granddaughter to put a marking around what it is because. It's scary.
It's like one of those. It's like those Bigfoot hoaxes. When
no. It's actually scary to see this.
That's crazy.
And because it targets kayakers.
Yeah,
It could be any type of shark target. So it's very scary. And he admits when he has to go out in the middle of the night to drop off these things.
Yeah.
This was in the daytime, so we could get the video. But he goes, yeah, it's a little spooky.
And that's why you always bring a final line of defense.
Well, yeah, but not up here in Massachusetts. You better be legal. So that's exciting. We're having a great time up here. The weather's super nice, man. Because, out in Florida, it's 105 degrees.
It's 95 here. Yeah.
This is great man. We had jackets on the beach.
Must be nice. Must be really nice.
And no one else was there. It was wild. So that's the first thing. But listen. Before we start the show, we've got to do a tribute. And it's not Deion Sanders. I'm not Deion Sanders, with the do-rag. The most famous do-rag, really, is a guy guy you grew up with, guy you grew up watching,
Yep.
Hell in the Cell, Andre the Giant, everybody else, Hulk Hogan.
Absolutely.
Hulk Hogan,
Absolutely.
unbelievably, but Hulk Hogan passed away. So, you got to have a little tribute to Hulk Hogan. That's right. And this is my tribute to Hulk Hogan. And I look
Oh
back.
God.
Yeah. Here we go, brother.
Oh my
Gotta
God.
go, brother. Yeah. 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 That's me, Hulkster.
We're gonna get banned off YouTube.
That's me, brother. Or
I would
with
say-
the old shirt just like the Hulkster.
I would say your physiques are very similar. I have to say, and
Very
the tan,
similar, right.
and the tan, and the
Right,
tans,
nuts.
and the tans. Oh my. Okay. All right. You're gonna scare anyone.
And
still
that's
watching
my
away.
tribute to the legendary Hulk Hogan, who's from and lives in Clearwater, Florida.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I remember is that when we used to
Yeah.
go to Clearwater, his house was right there on the beach, and yeah, you would sometimes see him or see his car, and yeah,
Absolutely. So, it was shocking to hear that news. But that's our tribute, or my tribute, and your tribute to the Hulkster. And you didn't know anything about that, so.
No, I did not. I did not. I
Deny.
would have
Hey,
right
look.
there.
As they always say, deny till you see the evidence.
I did not. But yeah, RIP. Obviously, you can see Triple H's post. And anyone
Well-
who was a wrestling fan or followed wrestling, especially in the Attitude Era or before, obviously, you may not like some of the stuff Hulk, but as a professional in the sport, he was obviously a big deal. And he created a lot of memories for a lot of kids growing up, as well as myself. So, RIP.
Those guys, I mean, that was the legend. Like, we had legends of boxing, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, George Foreman. I mean, that was, it was unbelievable. And then with the wrestlers, Triple H, Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage. I mean, you could just name them, and you know that. You know that growing up, it was
huge.
awesome. And if you ever want to revisit any of that, to any of our fans or viewers out there, yourself, whatever, you go on YouTube, and a lot of those matches are out there. And it's fun to watch a match now and then of those big ones,
Yeah,
So,
or even that Netflix documentary I did. I mean, the Vince McMahon one, which
that
shows
awesome.
about Vince. That's
Yeah.
a good just history of the sport of the industry too, and you see some of Hogan and stuff like that. So, but R.I.P. Hogan.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, 100%. So hats off to a legend, Hulk Hogan, who died today at age 71.
Yeah, great career.
71, great career, and he really lit up that industry. And,
Absolutely.
So very good. But we want you to know we're a serious program. Okay. Okay. We do salutes, but we're a serious program. Okay, brother.
These things come in threes. So Ozzy Osbourne, died.
Yeah.
Legend. He just had his final thing, and Hulk Hogan. I told my friends, Ric Flair needs to watch out because he's had some close calls, so he needs to be careful the next week or so in July.
That's true. You probably did you talk to Paul?
Yeah. I was talking to my friends. So,
well, you guys got that classic picture from the wedding with the belts.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
All right. So let's get into the meat of our show here. So obviously we're talking running backs tonight, and this is a room that, as many of you already know, and who are close to Florida State football, even a casual fan will know, there's been some turnover in this room. There's been a new additions, and that's, I think, it's probably the most exciting, I'd say, position group this year for me, I think, because of the skill level and the potential it has, and because of the new weapons they've added here. So I think I have some questions for you that I want to discuss with you and the audience.
I have some answers.
Okay, well, some answers. But let's quickly go through what the roster looks like, the depth chart look like. And obviously, this is just a projection of what it could be and who's available. But you have potentially 6+ guys that could contribute this year, and that's I don't think an exaggeration when you talk about who's contributing. You have Roydell Williams, obviously, who was banged up last year, the Alabama transfer. You have Cam Davis, who's redshirt true sophomore, who got some time last year, kind of rotational. He got hurt as well last year, but we saw some flashes of him. He's a more stocky, big back. But he was getting some time as a true freshman. You bring in the transfer from Oklahoma, Gavin Sawchuk, who 2 years ago almost rushed for 1,000 yards at Oklahoma, was a big 12 honorable mention, was banged up last year, which is why he had production issues. But you've seen flashes of him, even played against him in a bowl game a couple of years ago. And then you have assisting guys, again, Sam Singleton, another young guy similar to Cam Davis, who's looking for more opportunities to show what he has, a speedy back there. And then also Jalen Lucas, another speed back who got injured early in the 2 games into the season, again, the transfer from Indiana, who can do it both in special teams and as well as you can be utilized in the receiving role, in the running back role, but a speedster who I believe last year, early in the season, the first game or two was clocked at like 24 miles an hour on the GPS. So he kind of broke an on-field record for that with his speed. And I'm not even mentioning guys like Micah Danzy, who is another young guy who was known for being a track star, and has a guy that's going to be a redshirt freshman, I believe, who they really want to get in the field, who only has 38 yards to his name, but he has elite speed, and they brought him in to this program because of that speed, and we've seen what he can do on the track field. And then the last name to bring up that I'm going to mention here is Usman Kromah, who is one of the stars or gems of the latest recruiting class. He'll obviously be a true freshman. Rushed for 1,200, almost 1,300 yards his last year, senior year, 15 touchdowns last year in high school. But he's one of these guys, when you talk about instant impact freshmen, this is one of those guys that everyone feels he could be one of those guys that he's not going to rush for 1,500 yards, 2,000 yards, but one of these guys in situational packages and schemes like Gus Malzahn likes to run. This is a guy that had the accolades, play against the right competition, and it has the right build to be able to play year one. And people expect that from him in this type of offense. And so people are very excited about him. Obviously, we didn't have a spring game this year. We haven't been able to see him play. But from all the media outlets who are talking about him and his recruiting profile, this is a guy that you expect to contribute right away. And Mike Norvell has even said that himself, that he expects him to make an impact year one. So that's the breakdown. Like I said, there are, and I didn't even mention Keziah Holmes, because this is a guy, again, that's been here 3 years, the Penn State transfer, who I feel like he's been on a team now for almost 5, but he rushed for less than 100 yards last year, used sparingly, but he is a veteran. He's been in the system for a while. He gets a carry. It feels like every 10 carries, he gets one. He's a bigger guy, but you can rely on him. He's just not widely used, but he's still with the program. He is still with the program. So when you go down this list, he's not even on the depth chart there as you see it, but he's still here. So that's almost 8 guys that I just mentioned who are still with the program. You didn't see a lot of attrition from this room during the portal. I don't know if you'll see any in the fall. The only guy you lost last year to the draft or to that, to eligibility was Lawrence Toafili, who was a program favorite. It wasn't like a Trey Benson like player in terms of being able to rush for 1,000 yards, but he was a great player, and I think a lot of people respect the way he carried himself on and off the field. But you lose him. That was the only big guy in terms of impact player you lost. All these other guys you kept, and then you brought more guys in. So what is your feeling on the room and the guys I discussed? What is your initial gut feeling on this room? And is it too many guys to feed? Is it good amount of talent? Is it do you feel like there's a lack of talent? What is your overall feeling going through all that list of guys I just mentioned?
Well, I think you just said the key words that's sticking in my mind, and that is too many guys to feed. There's too many guys to feed with what is the word? With the guy holding the food bucket, Gus Malzahn, is known as not feeding many.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the word on the street. He gets 1 or 2 backs, and he likes to work those guys. Okay, and so we're not going to see this thing where Mike Norvell was trying to make everybody happy. I don't think Gus Malzahn is going to manage his running back room or, his offense with 5 backs playing in the game. I just don't see that. Okay. And that can be a problem down the road if somebody wants to go into the portal and I'm not getting my carries, I'm not getting my looks, and that frustration is going to grow. So from that angle, I do not see, unless an injury of some kind comes up and slows him down, that Gavin Sawchuk is not going to be your number 1 running back. He's the guy they brought in. He's the most proven guy.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The most proven. And I wrote out on Twitter a couple times, where is the bell cow? One time maybe I put, where's the cowbell? I probably got mixed up. But who is the bell cow versus the cowbell? Hopefully people saw that and took notice, Hey, that's good marketing.
Yeah.
But the bell cow, the one who's going to lead this room and the other cows are going to follow, the other backs are going to follow, is Gavin Sawchuk, the transfer from Oklahoma. He has the most production of anybody in this room, and it's not even close. I don't think it's debatable. It's not even debatable.
No.
So,
no.
Without unforeseen circumstances, he's your guy. Now, who is the backup to him? Who is going to spell him and get some carries? Is it going to be Rodell Williams, who was brought in highly publicized when he came in from Alabama, but was slowed with injuries last season, didn't get a lot of carries? Is it him, or is it the new guy? Is it the new guy, number 32 on your rosters, Usman Kromar? Is it going to be Usman Kromar, the freshman? Is he ready for this? I don't think you're going to see a lot of him in the Alabama game. I think you're going to see Sawchuk, you're going to see Rodell Williams, who came from Alabama, who's going to have a little chip on his shoulder, I think.
Yeah.
But where does this leave a guy like Cam Davis? Cam Davis is a perfect picture of a guy who's going to enter the transfer portal at the end of this season.
Yeah.
That's I think he's probably 3rd or 4th on the depth chart. You've got Jalen Lucas to deal with. You've got Keziah Holmes, who I think is a guy. Jalen Lucas is more of a spot player, a situational player, a guy to try to get into space. He's not going to run it between the tackles a lot. You brought up Danzy. I don't know how all these guys are going to play. I think you're going to see a lot of these guys in portal out at some point. Unless, and you got to hope Sawchuk and Williams are your 2 guys.
Yeah. And it's tough to determine because you can't look at last year's because, last year, you average 80 yards per game running the football, which is unfathomable. You can...
Some of the worst in D1 football.
It's incredible. Cam Davis was averaging 19 yards per game. He was your second leading rusher. And then Lawrence Philly had 500 yards and 38 yards per game, and he's gone. So it's like you can't take away. You couldn't say, oh, we have the next running back here because you learned nothing from last year because it was a total crapshoot. And so you do bring in new guys, and you bring in new guys like Kroma as a freshman. You like him. You like his build and his highlights. And you bring in Sawchuk, who, like you said, 2 years ago, almost had 1,000 yards. You had Roydell, who got hurt. You liked what you had in him, but he got hurt, so you didn't get to see his potential. You liked the freshman Danzy. Kind of didn't get to see his full potential. Jalen Lucas you brought in for a reason last year. He got hurt. So a lot of this was maybe injuries. So you didn't get to see the full potential of your room last year. How much is that going to be unlocked this year if they stay healthy? How much of it, though, is, once again, having an average offensive line? And how much better will the offensive line be potentially this year? Or how much of a stride can it take this year to allow those weapons to do what they do best? Because we know last year the offensive line was garbage. And I don't care how many of these guys would have stayed healthy. I don't think it would have made a difference because none of these guys, in my opinion, until I see Chroma, live. No offense, Cam Davis isn't Trey Benson. In terms of a guy that can flip the field quickly or a game breaker.
Cam Davis did not live up to the publicized image that was created. That's not his fault.
And he could.
Media,
he wasn't.
That's the media who did that.
Exactly. And that's not to say he won't, and that's not to say he won't become that player.
Right.
But yeah, he didn't show it last year, and I don't think, from what I saw, he was ready for that role, and it was a tough situation for them all. And then playing behind that line, it was even worse.
And now they've done the same thing. The media has done the same thing to Usman Kromar. They've created this image of a superstar, and we don't know. He's never run the ball in Division I football.
Everyone's always looking for a savior, and they do it with these new players, whether it be transfers or freshmen.
It generates excitement. It generates it's marketing. You know that.
Yeah, and so yeah, and especially from one of your worst performing rooms, they're gonna put the spotlight there and say, this is the guy.
And KB, you really hit it on the head. And I should have brought this up front when you gave me the question. I don't care who you got running the football. The offensive line has to create the lanes and create the blocking and has to have much better performance than ever before. We talked about the O-line last week. People can go back and look at our assessment of that. But that is going to be the key. If they can't really overpower people up front, then there's going to be some issues.
Correct. You need three things. One, you need a functional offensive line. You need an offensive line that at times they can make those plays. They can open lanes. They can give your running backs a chance. They can't just always be failing like we had last year. They need to be functional. The second thing is you need a quarterback that can make teams respect the pass. A guy that can deliver the ball when a guy is open or deliver in tight spaces. Last year we didn't have that either. Teams never respected the pass. They never respected that. If we go one-on-one outside and we stack the box, we're not going to get beat. This quarterback is not going to be able to force the ball in. And if we stick on them, there's no athletic quarterback behind there. They never respected the deep ball. They could bring everyone up, and so that was an issue. The third thing that needs to work is that if you don't have either of those two things, or one of those two things is not there, you need to have an all-star or all-American for first team type of running back. And that, like we saw in the old days when the offensive lines weren't great, in the old days we had like the Dalvin Cooks or like who was an out of this world player, and he could overcome the offensive line around him. Or when you had a Cam Davis and he played behind the worst offensive lines, but there was semblances of a quarterback, and he was a out of this world running back. And I don't think we have a Cam Davis right now that I've identified. I don't think we have a Dalvin Cook that I've identified, because those are one-of-a-kind type of players. Those are five-star generational type players in my eyes for college. If you don't have that, then you need to have the other things. You need to have a functional offensive line, and you need to have a quarterback that teams respect, so that you put less pressure on the running back position, and those guys can make plays using the talent that they have. And until we identify, is there a guy on this team that is somewhere like one of those all-star players, like a Trey Benson and so forth? Because now I haven't identified.
The other thing is, I don't know. I don't really know which of these guys is your better back out of the backfield to catch passes. Do you?
I think it's between Jalen Lucas. Jalen Lucas would be probably one of the top guys because of his mixture of speed, and he's shown it. He has good hands. Yeah, Chroma, that is one of the benefits of him, is because I think he caught for almost 500 yards each season, average at least 500 yards receiving in his high school career, and he's known for his balance.
Because that's going to make a difference. It's playing time, because the defense has to account for that guy.
Yes. I think that's why
they respect it. Yeah.
And I think that's why they do believe he'll make a difference in year one, because he's not a kind of one-trick running back. He is a balanced running back that has speed, has strength, has balance, and can also beat you with his hands. And so I believe that's why he will get on the field, is that they can throw him out wide and he can catch the football. Cam Davis, I think, has struggled with his hands, and struggles somewhat out in space early in certain plays. Once again, last
What
year was
about
crazy.
Williams? What about Roydell Williams? Do you have any clue? I don't have any clue.
I'm trying to remember back in terms
didn't
of
have
his
enough
catch reception, but looking back at Alabama, he wasn't called upon to catch the ball a lot. Last year, he caught 5 balls for 46 yards, so it wasn't like they were. He let's just say he hasn't been called upon to catch the ball a lot out of the backfield, so he wouldn't be your number one guy in terms of that. I don't.
And I think that's going to affect playing time for guys.
Oh yeah.
Especially on third downs. If you can catch the football, you're probably going to be in the game. So you've got all these situational things, which I think it's a good running back room. I really do. But it's all going to depend on that offensive line. Much of it is, because I think the holes are going to be small and they're not going to be open long. So, you could look at the faster, smaller guys, Jalen Lucas. Maybe that's what you need. I don't know. We're going to find out against Alabama.
And that's one thing you did lose in Lawrence Toafili is because he was a really good receiving back. He was able to go outside and catch it up the seam, catch it down the sideline, and he had very good hands. And he as he progressed his career, he got bigger and he was able. I mean, they would throw him right down the middle at times in terms of running the football. Yeah. So I mean, he was, and you would say he was undersized as a running back, but he was able to they turned him into everything because he did have good hands. So I think you're right. I think the guy that is able to show the most balance as a running back is going to get the nod more often than not. And I think Jalen Lucas is probably one of those guys, and Cromah could find himself getting into that top 2, top 3 rotation if he consistently is able to catch the ball. Now, we do see often, and when you throw a young guy in there, it's not just Florida State, it's all teams. When you throw a young guy in there, do they get some of the yips when they're, when they're throwing to the first game against Alabama under the lights? Does that, or it won't be under the lights, it's 3:30, but when they get into the big time situation, it's no longer high school. Do they lose the ability to catch the football consistently, right? If you drop a couple of balls, does Gus Malzahn go to the next guy because you have 8 running backs you can play, right? So it'll be interesting.
I don't even think we mentioned Sam Singleton, did we?
I think we did. I thought I mentioned him, but you're right. Sam Singleton's a speed guy. They love his speed. So you have a lot of strength, speed, and balance on this team, and he's another guy that you saw a little bit last year. But he's a guy fighting for time. There's so many guys fighting for time, and
it's amazing how many guys are in his running back room that could be, and I'm not saying on the top 15 or 20 D1 teams they'd be starters, but on a lot of football teams in D1, maybe outside the top 20, a lot of these guys would be starters, or they'd be competing as the number 2 back. So that's why I say at the end of this season, no matter what, depending on the losses, some of these guys may not stick around because
you may see it in the fall camp window. I think coming up here, you may see a couple of guys. Is
there a window open after fall camp?
I thought there was after fall camp. There was a brief.
I don't think so.
I thought there was.
No, because fall camp rolls right into the games. There's not going to be another window.
I thought there was a window. No. Maybe I missed it. But anyways,
somebody out there knows there's another window. I think it's in December.
One thing I want you to keep in mind as a number is that when we look at last year in terms of receptions from running backs, the number was around, when I look at, there's around the top 4 guys, there was around 33 receptions by the top four running backs. 25 of those receptions out of the 32 were by Lawrence Toafili, so he had about 95% of them. And then second was Singleton with 3. Second was Roydell Williams with 5 out of the 40-ish. But so Singleton's Roydell were the next top 2, but those guys had nowhere close to 25. So that either was a trust issue or it was, Toafili was the primary guy, but you didn't see a rotation. It didn't seem like in getting guys the football in their hands either. So it will be interesting to see how that plays out this year with. When I think Gus Malzahn is going to use guys' hands a lot more, but you go back to the fact that he doesn't want to rotate guys. So I do wonder, with him keeping this many guys, is he going to change his style a bit? I just don't know why he would keep so many running backs if he wasn't planning to try to play them or compete, them compete against each other.
He's lucky to have held on to all these guys.
100%.
Okay? I don't know what promises he made or how much cash they gave them, but I don't. It's not we're going towards the NFL model, and the NFL model is you've got like 2 running backs that you play most of the game. Okay, maybe you get a third in there if some guy's limping or gets hurt somewhat, but you're not playing 5 guys in the backfield. Some of these other guys may make it on special teams or something of that nature. They're not going to get that many. There'll be 1 or 2 guys that get the most carries. I say it's Sawchuk, and at this point, I believe it's going to be Roy Dell Williams unless Usman Kromah really makes a push in fall camp.
Yeah.
But because I think they want to hold him. I don't know if they're so hot on Cam Davis right now. You don't hear any buzz about Cam Davis from any FSU media. I don't hear anything much about him. So maybe Cromar is the next best thing. We'll see how that works out.
And I think one more thing to point back at is don't even look at the 2024 sets. I'm referencing them, but I think that's the wrong way to look at it. I think where we want to look back as where did things succeed in terms of the running game and finding balance. And that would be the 2023 season. We didn't have an elite offensive line. It was decent, average plus, but you found balance in the running game and the pass game. You averaged over 200 yards running the ball almost a game, and you had a quarterback that they respect, that the defense had to respect, that found balance, that had weapons, and you were able to establish that balance. And when you look at how the rushing yards were that season, you had 2 guys. You had your 2 main guys, Trey Benson, Lawrence Toafili. Trey Benson was obviously your one. That was your guy that could flip the field quickly. But you had 2 guys that you rotated in and out. And then you had guys behind them when you need situational ball. Rodney Hill, Keziah Holmes, and C.J. Campbell. So in that season, you did actually have 5 guys at any point in time that could go in and carry the football.
I think any of these guys in the running back room right now, I feel comfortable with putting in the game, depending on the situation. I'm not there to see them, but I kind of, they came with good pedigrees. I think they're very suitable to put into a game, any of them, but they're not. That's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen given the criteria of Gus Malzahn. I just don't see it. I don't think it's going to happen, but I feel comfortable. I always felt comfortable with Keziah Holmes. I don't know if Keziah Holmes, do you think Cam Davis has proven himself much more than Keziah Holmes? Yeah, and Bill, I don't think Keziah Holmes has really had a chance. What if you put him in for a full game against Kent State? I'll bet you he'd show pretty good. Jalen Lucas, I really don't know what he can do, So I feel good with the running back room. But there are question marks because of the offensive line. We don't know. So
I agree, but I think it all comes down to have a functional offensive line you had in 2023, and find your primary and then rotate guys behind.
That's
that.
it. That's
it. They had in 2023. You have to find who your Trey Benson.
You're not going to go more than 3 deep, and depending on.
I mean, they did in 2023. They worked.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Situationally.
Situationally, yes, but it makes no sense. I think one player is going to get 15 to 20 carries. The other guy is probably going to get 10 to 12, maybe. You don't need how tired can you get? You shouldn't have to rotate 3 guys. If you're an NFL caliber back, you're getting a lot of carries. They don't rotate 3 guys. They don't do it.
I agree, but I think the biggest equation is who will become the Trey Benson of this team. And do they have a Trey Benson?
Chuck has the best ability to do that.
And I hope it's
the best proven ability to do it.
Because last year we didn't have that. Last year that guy was either hurt or not on the football team. Yeah. And that's what we need to find. That's what we need to establish in game 1. Who is that breakout guy for this?
And I do believe if you have good schemes up front and you get the performance out of an offensive line to be average or above average, we'll probably have 110 yards a game, maybe 130 yards.
You're going to have to need more than 110 yards per game to win football games. Okay. I'm sorry. We'll
find out because the big question mark on this football team is the offensive line, which has been for years. So
yeah. So other questions I had for you here, kind of related to this. So you answered, will Cromah play as a freshman? I think we both agreed that he will. But it'll be dependent on how he looks in terms of catching the football, stuff like that. But
Well, yeah,
I agree. I believe he will play. I believe he will play.
I don't. He may get I don't know about the Alabama game. He's gonna probably play in the Kent State game, and then the East Texas at wherever the hell they're from game, Texas State, whoever they are. Those are good games to work in other backs. But how do you explain that to Sawchuk? Sawchuk's trying to get a job in the NFL. He wants his carries. Sawchuk wants, against Kent State, wants to run up some big numbers. So he's going to have to run those up in the first half because the coaches want to see these other guys.
Well,
right?
I would say to Sawchuk and anyone, you came here, we paid you to get here to compete. And if you don't outcompete the guys around you, then I'm sorry. You're still getting paid to be here. You're not guaranteed a starting spot.
No, I don't think they guaranteed him one. But they didn't bring him here and pay him. I would bet he's the highest paid guy in that room, and maybe
I don't know.
Maybe followed by Kumar.
He was out all last year essentially. It's not like he was coming off a 1,000-yard season.
Even on the team, but you're saying Sawchuk wasn't playing a lot last year because
he had 130 yards. He was hurt last year.
I know, but he had a big year the year before. So listen. I believe it's one of the rooms on this football team that is more solidified in my mind as being positive than a lot of the other rooms.
Okay, so I got some quick questions for you in the audience. Let's go real quick.
Yeah.
Who do you think will lead FSU in rushing next year or this season?
Without injury, Sawchuk.
Okay. That's for the audience too. Chat in whether you're watching this live record. Who will lead FSU in rushing yards this season? Now, next. Can FSU's running back room carry us to a bowl game, or will it be hinged on the quarterback play? So if we need 200 yards to beat a certain team, do you think
quarterback play will be a big part of we go into a bowl game, and I do believe this team will win 6 games without a doubt. If we don't win 6 games,
okay, we're not talking. Okay,
Norvell's gone.
You said it's based on quarterback play.
Yeah.
Okay. How many rushing yards will our running backs combine for in 2025? Over or under 2,000 yards?
Under.
So do you think? Okay, there you go. In this run-heavy offense of Gus Malzahn's coaching style, should we lean into this running back group based on Gus Malzahn's run-heavy offense, or do you think it would be smarter for this team to leverage the passing game this season, in your opinion, based on what you've seen so far?
I think they want to leverage the running game. That's the priority. But if that gets shut down, then you have to go to the passing game and the legs of Tommy Castellanos.
And I think I already know your answer to this, but of the 2025 schedule, which of the games do you think will be the biggest test for running backs? Alabama, Miami, Clemson, or Florida?
The best test?
The biggest test.
The biggest test? My mind says I want to say all of those, but I think Alabama is going to be the big test, but that's the first game of the season. But I want to say all of those. Everything
you can't. But
Alabama.
Okay, and if you think if they perform well enough, that's a good barometer to how they will be for the rest of the season. Okay.
Because that means the offensive line is functioning.
Okay. And last question is, and I think I kind of know this, but because this is a lot of the consensus out there, should FSU rely on somebody like Roydell Williams or Sawchuk, or do you think it's smart to go to, regardless of Gus Malzahn's approach, do you think it's better to rely on a workhorse like Roydell or Sawchuk, or go to a committee approach is the best strategy for this season? Don't look past what the coach, offensive coordinator approach. In your opinion, better to go with a workhorse like Roydell, Sawchuk, or one of the other guys, or take the running back by committee approach and use the best abilities of each guy?
Okay, if I was a head coach, yes. I don't do run back by committee. That's out. I'm going to take the best 2 guys. Sawchuk and Roydell Williams. That's why they came in here. I believe they have the most potential at this point and the most experience. In camp, in training, in football games, I believe those are the ones I'm going to rely on till something changes.
Okay, there you go. All right, those are my quick questions, and I think that will wrap it up for the preview of the running back. So let me know, or let us know, on those points, what your thoughts are on each of those. So let us know in the chat if you're watching this now or later. I would love to know what you guys think of, if you disagree or agree with the old man, because I think I may disagree with him on some of those. But let us know in the chat what you guys think, especially the ones around whether or not you think the running back room can carry this team in 2025, and who do you think will lead this team in rushing yards for the 2025 season. I'm interested in that response as well. Anything else?
Ed D on the comments, mate. I'm taking the guys who don't turn the ball over. No, but he has a valid point.
That is a valid point.
Because I don't think Gus Malzahn is going to, handle that real well. That if you're generally you turn the ball over, you may come out or, for that series, and you're going to go back in because that's the only way you can build a guy's confidence. Yeah. Okay. If a guy is turning the ball all over in some games and it's the same guy, he's probably not going to play. I don't care who it is. So,
no,
that's a valid point.
That's a very
and William and Bill McMillan, Sawchuck, he's the guy. He's the guy they brought in.
That's a very valid point. Not something I didn't think of off the bat.
But let's not mistake. Injuries are going to play a big part in how well this goes. This team is on the edge of a disaster in certain positions with injuries.
All right. Anything? So that will wrap up the preview here. So I want to talk about ACC Media Days. Obviously, kind of wrapped up today in Charlotte. What's going on since the 22nd. And there's some things that came out of that I think are noteworthy or worth kind of highlighting here. Obviously, one of the big things was Thomas Castellanos and his comments and the headlines he made about Alabama and saying they're not the same without Nick Saban and adding kind of fuel to this opener with Florida State, which we talked about a little bit last week, and he kind of maybe walked back the comments, and then this week again he kind of walked them ahead again and kind of stood on them, and it's kind of gone back and forth. And we've seen the Alabama players saying that it's getting them fired up, so that was one of the big talking points. At this point, I'm kind of just over it. I don't care. As long as he performs, I don't care. I just wish I'm one of those guys that I just wish guys didn't talk. They just did it until they're on the field.
And so do the coaches.
Yeah, talk when you're on the field and you're performing. Don't talk before you're even on the field and suited up for the first game. That's just kind of my style, and I think that's kind of what I'm used to with like Jordan Travis and guys like that who actually kind of. They showed it on the field, and
Travis never talked any trash.
That's what I'm saying. Like he showed it on the field. Like he didn't worry about the other things, right. And so that's kind of my mentality there. So I'm a little against the thing, but if he backs it up, then he can talk all he wants. But I don't think it's certainly smart what he did there. Anything you want to add to that?
If you talk trash and you don't back it up and don't have a good game, and Alabama takes it out on you, and it's a terrible game for you, you're going to hear it. You're going to hear it from the fans. You're going to hear it from the media, and those comments are going to come back to haunt you. So
the other thing that came out was Norvell, kind of his little press conference during the event, and he kind of was giving them motivational. So I'm going to play a little bit of it here if anyone didn't get to watch it, and then I want to get your reaction. Okay.
Yep.
All right, let me play it here.
This team and this season that's ahead, I've got great expectations, got a lot of confidence because I've watched the work, because I've seen the investment. Right, I'm really proud and grateful for the coaches and the new leaders that we have within our coaching staff. Being able to have two of the best coordinators in college football, a couple of the best football minds that this game has, and this team and this season.
All right, so that's a little portion of it.
Which I had heard. Yep.
But before I do that, I want someone posted this. Someone posted. He sounds like this is the beginning of every season, and then someone posted this clip show. So let's go through a little bit.
It's been the most explosive.
What do you?
I was going to say, based on that last clip, I wrote on Twitter or X, as you said, I said ACC kickoff speeches are totally waste of time for viewers. Meaningless cheerleading to raise cash and unrealistic expectations generally. Just saying, the old man.
Yeah.
So, and I meant it to him. He says the same thing.
Yeah, and so someone posted that and then posted this, and
It's been, the most explosive, fall camp that we've had.
It's the strongest and fastest football team that we've had up until this point.
Set down for him. Booted up. It's tumbling. It's turning. It is good! And Georgia Tech knocks off number 10 Florida State.
Starting off, you got to give credit to Georgia Tech. But
That's it. No, come on. Let's
it just
be
goes
real.
through every game, and it's like his speeches are. I'm
But
not
that's
trying
what
to.
he's supposed to do, KB. Let's be real.
No, it's not what he's supposed to do.
What's
He
he
just
supposed
says
to
the
do?
same
What
shit
is he
every
supposed
press.
to
Be real. Just be real. He
KB.
said it's the most explosive team he's ever seen. The team had no
KB.
explosion last year.
KB, he's not going to get up there and say, every night when I go to bed, I am concerned. That's what he really wants to say. That's not his job. Can you imagine how the fan base would react if he said, I go to bed at night and I am concerned about this offensive line, and if Tommy Castellanos breaks an ankle in game 1, we're crushed. He's not going to say that. That's reality.
No, but it's this bullshit. I'll show you a little bit more of this because it should piss off FSU fans that they hear the same shit speeches every single week.
This is why some fans don't listen to us, because we are reality.
Listen.
Because this is what could happen. They go, well, you're negative.
Listen.
He's not going to say anything negative. I don't hear anything. Hello?
So every week, it's we thought they played hard after they just get blown out by Clemson. Oh, we played hard. You just got blown out again by 2. Like every single week, it's I thought we played hard. We thought when there wasn't any effort. It should piss off every single fan that there's no accountability. And at that point in the season, when you're 2-10, hold them accountable in public. Hold certain players accountable in public. We're in the age of paid players. Hold people accountable and call. You don't have to call them out by name, but you have to say we did not work hard enough today. We got our asses kicked. Say these things.
He started doing a little bit of that at the end of the year.
They were 2-10. He should have been.
He should have been. But he started,
are we joking here? Now we're starting the whole bullshit over again, saying we got a great team again. This is the most explosive.
But it will come out. But he is not from the school that is going to call out players. Most of the coaches who go to that school, they don't do that. They feel it'd be detrimental until the season is already lost, and then they'll start doing it. But he's not in that. Mike Norvell is not in a school of negativity. Okay? People will accuse me or you of being negative. We're not being negative. He's not. Mike Norvell has concerns about this football team. He has concerns about Alabama facing them in game 1 at home. He wants, if he loses, he's thinking, I'm telling you how this coach will think. He's thinking, if I lose, just lose close. Okay? I can't lose by 3 touchdowns. Okay? Then, he's not going to say that. Come on. That's real. That's realistic. That's no hugs, no kisses. That's reality.
But that's stupid. No coach is going to talk about losing close. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just saying, but everything doesn't have to be happy all the time. You can say we had a bad day at the office. We had a bad practice. We have to come out and we have to do it at a higher standard. Last year, we got caught flat-footed. We coached bad, and it led to the results. That's why I had to fire the entire staff. I don't want sugar-coated speeches every single time.
He said this team is already a team. It's built itself. He said the year before I had to do team building exercises and all this because there was no camaraderie.
Yeah.
I don't have to do this. It's already molded.
And I appreciate that.
He's setting up the expectation that this team is different from last year, and it will be. There's no way they're just going to win 2 games. That's impossible. It'd be impossible. Okay? If he does, he should donate the rest of his contract money back. He's going to win at least 6 games. They're going to go to a bowl game of some sort. It could be more wins. It will not be less than 6. You can write that down.
No, and And these things, I think most people should have been thinking last year too. There was no leadership last year, and that's why you go 2-10. We lost a lot of leaders from the 2023 team, Deloach and Jordan Travis and Trey Benson and linebacker. Like, we lost a lot of those guys, and they weren't replaced. No one stepped up last year and led this team, and we had some terrible coaches, and it led to the results it did.
He's not going to go down that road easy.
Well, he is. He is saying it. He's finally saying it. He's starting to say these things, but you shouldn't be saying them leading up to the season because it sounds like a cop-out then.
Yeah, but it's still not where, candid people are. Okay?
All right. Other things talking about, Pat Narduzzi was talking about how he thinks North Carolina could be in the ACC championship with Pitt. I don't think that will happen. I think North Carolina's going to struggle this season.
That'd be wild. Yeah,
I think Bill Belichick's going to be one and done potentially at UNC, so I don't see that happening. Haynes King called out Georgia and says he's ready to beat them this year, kind of adding some intrigue to that game. He almost beat them last. I mean, that game was down to the wire.
That was a good game.
And Georgia Tech's being built the right way. They have a good coach. They have a good roster. So I think that game will be very competitive. Other things, Frank Wright at Stanford, the former NFL coach there, he talked about bringing his experience to Stanford and building that program back up. I think he has an interim tag there. But Florida State plays them, so that'll be an interesting twist with seeing how far he's gotten them along there, and his approach to shifting their approach to program building at Stanford and stuff like that, trying to bring fans in and that. The other thing they announced too is the new player availability reports in the ACC.
Yes.
So now they're going to be releasing player availability reports, which means it's going to get greater transparency to injuries and stuff like that before games. So Jim Phillips talked about this on the 22nd.
However,
well, it's really for betting. It's really for betting. That's the big thing.
You know what? And it's also already been stated, and I believe it. These coaches will skim on that. They'll, you can say, well, we thought it was ready to go. Misleading the opposing team. We thought Tommy Castellanos was up and ready to go, but no, he worked out game day, and because the rule says, file the report 2 days before kick with an allowed update one day prior or on game day. Yeah. So he's warming up. No, he can't go. Can't go on the ankle today. So these guys are going to fudge on that. I'm not sure that's going to help other opposing coaches or bettors at this point.
Yeah. I mean, some guys
until they have something where they say a guy's ruled out, or they're going to do questionable, ruled out. I don't know. They didn't list the categories, but it only said the ACC now requires. Does that mean the Big Ten is doing that?
It's conference specific. It's conference specific rules. It's not mandated by the NCAA.
So you could be playing Florida, and we're going to have to give the report, and Florida doesn't.
It may be just interconference play.
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't. We'll have to look more into it. Let me add one thing also. I thought this was interesting. I don't know if you saw it. ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips says, quote, FSU and Clemson told us they still want to be in the ACC, end quote. New quote, and I believe them, according to Jim Phillips. See, you talk about candor with coaches. The universities, the athletic department, are not even candid on this. Florida State and Clemson are going to be the jewels in these big setups that are coming in college football. The big mega conferences, they're going to be in those. So this statement is very misleading from either Phillips or from the two universities to Phillips. And I think Phillips is an over-optimistic guy. He's not going to say, hey, these guys are leaving. It's just, that. You're in the business marketing world. They're not going to say stuff like that. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do you think that Florida State has said we'll stay in?
Unless the deal's drastically changed, I don't think.
They can't survive. They cannot survive long term. I'm not talking 5-10 years down.
They can survive
They're
if
not
they
gonna
if they
survive
change the
financially.
No, that did you not listen to what I said? I said if they change the contract to make it competitive, then yeah, you stay. But if they don't do that, then yeah, you don't stay.
They can't change the contracts competitively enough, is what I'm saying.
That's what I said. If that doesn't change, then you don't stay. I
For
mean,
2 or 3 years now since this all started, must get out. Period. Now, I've got one more thing, and then you.
I wasn't ever done with my talking points, but yes, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
No,
please. Go ahead.
No, you already are going on. Go.
Okay. Jimbo Fisher is going to be on the ACC network, ACC Huddle this coming season. All right. Now, I want to say this, and I look for your response. I think Jimbo Fisher gets a lot of bad fan reaction. And I'm trying to, I know most of it is, wow, it's how he left the program and he didn't recruit and he left this toilet bowl of players and all that. But you know what? I started thinking about this looking at his records today, and I can go over those numbers if you'd like. This guy at Florida State in coaching Florida State football has to be probably, you got Bowden, you got Bobby Bowden, you've got, and then probably Jimbo Fisher as the most successful coaches in FSU football history, and then Bill Peterson, who I like from the 60s, who actually put Florida State on the map. Okay. But in terms of success, you can't argue with his success from 2010 to 2017, 83-23 overall, 48-16 conference, 3 ACC titles, 6 10-win seasons. He won the Natty in 2013, I believe it was, 14-0. At A&M, where he got fired, he was 45-25. This guy's overall career record, despite whether you like him or not, you have to look at and say, pretty damn good. Okay? And I'm open to hearing people from that. Oh, he left it in the toilet bowl. Listen, that shit goes on all the time. But when you look at his numbers are pretty damn good. And he will be back coaching a football team probably after 1 year on the ACC Huddle.
Yeah, he's got the highest winning percentage of Florida State coaches.
So in Florida State history, everybody's bad-mouthing this guy. He did a lot of things here at Florida State. Love him, hate him. He's got the record to show it. He's got much more to show than Mike Norvell.
Okay, but no, that's an unfair thing to say at the end. I don't think that's fair to say.
Okay. Well, he does. I mean, the numbers don't lie. So that's all I'm saying. So good luck to him on ACC Huddle. Some fans may not like me saying that, but I don't have this big hate relationship with Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah. Well, I'll say that. Yeah, I don't hate him anymore. I would say he did lead to the eventual decline of Florida State when he left at the end of the season there, when they started off as number 3 to begin the year, and then they went 7-6. Basically stopped recruiting. Then they went to steamroll to 5-7, 6-7, and basically, the program kind of, and then you saw what he did at Texas A&M, and when he couldn't really do anything there, and took a giant contract, and then he got fired. So, I mean,
it's 20 games over 500. That's
he didn't achieve anything. Let's just be honest.
They didn't win a championship.
He didn't win a conference title. He didn't do anything there. Let's not just look. You can't just look at a record and say, okay, well, that's great. He didn't do anything there.
Okay.
He got the biggest contract in history, and he didn't do anything at Texas A&M. So that's not.
But he did win a national championship at Florida State.
Yeah, and that's great. And I am appreciative of that. But I'm not gonna hug him on his way back to the ACC network.
Fans may not see one of those for a while.
Yeah, we just had one. We just had our national championship. We just had an ACC championship, and I think it's tough to win a national championship regardless of the team.
I'm talking about a national championship.
Yeah, it's hard to win those no matter who the coach is.
They want an ACC, but they want the national.
Well, when you get screwed out of the playoffs, it's hard to win them too. So let's keep
Well,
that in mind. Let's
well.
keep that in mind. Because that, yeah, you can't say national championship without bringing up that asterisk too. Other things here, ACC is adopting a 9-game schedule as well. So they are going to increase the conference schedule to 9. So that'll be interesting. I don't think that's going to help ACC teams. It will probably potentially make, if you are scheduling garbage games out of the conference, that could make your conference schedule a little bit. It can make your schedule a little bit more competitive if you're, booking FCS conference games or non-Power 4. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And that will obviously affect the conference, kind of conference standings as well. So that'll be interesting, and see how that eventually does play out there. The final thing too is that they did talk about, the commissioner talked about how kind of the state of Florida State, especially as a basketball conference. And I do think that is something that, as we say in the conference, basketball has declined heavily in terms of it being highly competitive across multiple teams. You still have Duke, UNC's declined, Clemson's become more of a powerhouse, Florida State obviously has declined, but there is potentially changes they want to make, or they know they need to do things to make it more of a competitive conference, and they were open, they said, to a potential expansion of the conference tournament, or of the NCAA tournament. So that's just something to look at there and take note of there. But outside of that, I don't think there's too much other things from ACC Media Days. We talked about everything else. And then beware of court and field storming. There's now a $50,000 fine in the ACC for universities or fans that do to storm the field. So you don't want to take money away from Florida State. Don't storm the field unless it is a big game. Then I'm sure the university will be happy to pay for it. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, I think that's everything from ACC Media Days. That was, I guess, of note that I posted here. Anything else on that then?
No, I think Bill Belichick, I think he has a press conference there tomorrow, which could be interesting to listen to. But he doesn't say a lot, so.
I thought it wrapped up today, but maybe it does.
Maybe it did. I don't know. They did say Bill O'Brien will speak tomorrow, so they expect some questions about Castellanos.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect him. I wouldn't expect him to say.
We'll see how candid he is, right?
Yeah, but he left. Yeah, I wouldn't
just
expect
let
him
that go. That's past history, is what I'd say. That's past history.
Yeah, if Castellanos didn't bring anything up, I wouldn't expect the coach to bring anything up. Nope. So yeah, those are the big things I had and wanted to discuss. The things that came out today that were of interest: UNC talking about this report here of NCAA or North Carolina exploring a move from the ACC to SEC. I hate things like this because just because a team is exploring a potential move doesn't mean the other conference wants them. I see no reason why the SEC would take UNC. Once again, we've talked about this. Florida State, Clemson, in my mind, are bigger draws and bigger brands than North Carolina is right now. If you look at TV perspective, ratings, stuff like that, they're just bigger brands. And obviously, too, if SEC were to take on a new team, they have to then redistribute revenues, stuff like that. So they need to think about who they're bringing in, and if that is going to increase the negotiation power when they do re-up a TV contract and stuff like that, and will that bring in more money, and how much more money will it bring in?
I think this whole thing about conference realignment is much bigger than we think and much bigger than we know, and I think there's a lot going on behind closed doors as all of this is being addressed to make this 2 mega conferences, which will be probably the Big Ten and the SEC. I really believe that. And Florida State has to find a landing spot. I believe they will. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I think they will.
Yeah. But I think right now there's no really fire behind this. I think this is just, once again, clickbait, potentially just putting more pressure on the ACC. And maybe there's a secondary lawsuit to once again further bring down the exit number. I don't know.
Until the ACC gets a much more prestigious and significant TV contracts, you're going to see people wanting to get out. Period.
Yeah. So yeah, there was that. The other thing I wanted to touch on before we go was they did release. Well, this came out that the Chucky got arrested in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
So if you're traveling for a football game and you have kids, just be careful of
That's
the
scary.
local,
That's
the local,
scary.
the local Chuck E. Cheese because he's been
That's
arrested.
scary. Did they say what the charge was?
I didn't dive that deep.
Hopefully not the one I'm thinking it could be.
Yeah, you can go in the comments here if you want to go more into this, but
we're not gonna comment. We have no comment except Chucky's being walked out the door in
just be careful if you're traveling to Tallahassee and taking your kids to Chuck E. Cheese on a game day or game week. So
Lord.
just be careful there.
I'll be honest with you. I'm sorry, but Tallahassee has some rebuilding to do in restaurants and stuff. I mean, there's some that are just not. It's tough, man. And the milkshakes machine always breaks down after 5 p.m. So be aware of that. At McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Yeah. Hey, last thing I have, and then I'll let you wrap it up.
Yeah.
As we've gone over we always go over our hour. Is congratulations again to baseball, FSU baseball. They had like 14 guys drafted. 10 have. It's been stated that 10 have already signed with MLB teams, but it looks like Jamie Arnold got in the vicinity of a $4 or $5 million deal. So that's a first round choice. But if you're drafted in the 20th round, there's a big difference in the money. Yeah. So hopefully we'll get a couple of those guys back on the team. It looks like Link Jarrett's doing a great job in the portal. They got a center fielder from USC. They got looks like a good pitcher from USC as well. So he's loading up, and that's what he's got to do.
Yeah.
That's what he's got to do.
Yep. Jamie Arnold got paid, which is great to see. And like you said, Link Jarrett is bringing in a lot of top transfers, not just guys, but top guys. So they're reloading and quickly.
I don't know if did I say last week or maybe we went to the All-Star game in the Cape Cod League here, and Hunter Carnes, the catcher from the Knolls, he was playing, and Mancha, Peyton Mancha, pitched an inning in the game. It was well attended. And actually a lot of home run balls. The wind was blowing out all the way. Lots of home runs.
That's awesome. The last thing I wanted to touch on, because we've been talking about the new stadium remodel, and obviously that's going to be open, and pictures have now been released of kind of the final design and fan reactions and people not happy that they reduced I think they
went down 12,000 seats, right?
Exactly.
That's a lot.
People not happy with that, and the ticket price and stuff like that. Yeah. And I saw this guy's post, and he talked about how the AD and boosters really botched the messaging of the remodel and capacity reduction. And he says it's really that it's something that needs to be done, and that's due to the fact that the population, only 8% of the population of Florida lives within 150 miles of Tallahassee. And this is something that is, when you look at the statistics, is unlike all the major programs that you're competing against. The only other one close to that is Nebraska. And when you look at Nebraska, it's not a big state, and there's no other draw in the state. And this is really, you think about Tallahassee, but when you think of probably most of the fans, it's small market, and most of the fans probably live around Jacksonville and stuff like that. And there's a lot of other draws, but
people come up from Tampa too.
Only 8%, that is crazy, of the state population lives within 2.5 hours of it, which is crazy to think. And when you look at this chart from Tom Lock Nation and the average attendance and capacity, and the percentage of that capacity that's filled, it is something that you look at and you're like, okay, maybe this is something that is a smart move, is to make it easier to fill based on the consent, population and census and what we have around us. And I do believe with his message is that the ADs and boosters did do a crappy job of just saying, hey, we're going to renovate the stadium, we're going to make it a better experience for our fans, and didn't really kind of package this the right way to say, guys, we don't have the demographics around us to fill the stadium routinely in up and down times. Like when we struggle, we're going to have struggle filling this place because it's not a draw anymore. We don't have people who are going to drive 5 hours to come watch a game, right? Or fly into the small regional airport and pay $1,000 a weekend to come see us. That's tough. People are just going to watch it on TV because they can't drive quickly to get here, right? They're only going to come when things are great, because then they'll pay the extra money to come and fly in or drive 3 or 4 hours, 5 hours, stay overnight, watch a game. It's economics. And so I do agree with them that they really did message this the wrong way. And now that's pissed off fans when you see the major reduction in seats. But it's purely economics and what the population, kind of the supply and demand of the state and where we're located here. So I thought this was interesting.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that, you take out 12,000 seats and you try to explain to the fans, well, you're going to get a better fan experience. What is that fan experience? And can the fan handle it financially? Can they, what is it? You're going to be able to stand down there and have stand-up tables right near the bench of the home team and be able to be closer to the field. How much does that cost to get into that new section? Do you know? I have no clue what that costs. Do you?
No.
And you know what?
I know that.
You know who's going to be in there? Mostly corporate sponsors, big boosters, stuff like that. It's not going to be average Joe with his 2 kids and his wife trying to go to a game. Okay? They get to go to Kent State. They're not going to go to Alabama because they can't afford it. They're not going to go to Miami game because they can't afford it. Or if they do, they're putting it on their charge card and it's going to be out, skyrocketing. That's the reality. When when you reduce, it's all about supply and demand. So when you reduce it by 12,000, you're going to sell. You could possibly sell more, but you're selling more expensive stuff.
And look at this. We talked about this earlier too, is that Tomahawk Nation average cost for a single night in Tallahassee of a hotel rated 4 or better on Google and for the game. And it's like,
where's the Florida State one?
This is the Florida State for each of the games they played in the past season. For each of the opponents.
That's how much the average cost?
For a single night in Tallahassee. Yes.
Yeah, it's average cost, single night Tallahassee hotel.
Against each of these opponents.
And that's about, I look on there, I post stuff on Twitter about here's what it is at this hotel, here's what it is. I'm shocked for the California game. It was $800.
Yes, and that's what we're saying.
That doesn't even make
because it was family
sense.
weekend. It was family weekend. That's why.
Oh, that's family weekend. That's right.
But this is what we're talking about. It's
outrageous. It's
crazy.
outrageous. It's putting a pistol to someone's head and taking their wallet. I'm just being honest. I've been a fan since the mid '60s when Bill Peterson, Fred Biletnikoff, Steve Tenzie was lighting it up and putting Florida State on the map. This is outrageous, and I won't do it. And I won't do it. And I can do it, but I won't do it.
They even say here, this is on par with the Intercontinental Dublin, formerly the Four Seasons property on weekends, to play Georgia Tech and Iowa.
You can imagine. I wonder how the Iowa State thing is going to go to Dublin. How many of those farmers are going to fly over there, right? And pay these outrageous prices.
But this is the reason why you can't fill an 82,000 stadium when you have a down year, or when they're playing a rough opponent at noon. These prices, you're gouging. These hotels are gouging the fans, and people can't afford it in a tough economy.
You know what I can buy for $800? I can buy a new. I just saw them in BJ's Wholesale, whatever. 85-inch TV for less than $800.
You could buy a round trip ticket to Dublin. I literally did it.
No, I mean it is very costly to do one of these adventures now. And so, the actual stadium size, I don't have a problem with, because I think there should be a reduction in size, but the prices is just outrageous.
It is.
And most people will go because TickPick, is it TickPicks or TickPick? Okay, we're not a sponsor. We're not affiliated. They're not sponsoring us. I use TickPick a lot. You turned me on to that. and you'll see what the all-in price is. So you go on there right now and look for Kent State, and these are resellers, and probably find a ticket for $20. But that, but the hotel prices are still going to be up there some.
Yeah.
I actually bought a mattress for the back of my SUV so I could go 3.5 hours up, go to a night game, hit a roadside or a Wawa gas station, get a couple hours sleep, and drive home. I'm not paying those prices. We haven't used it yet, but my partner Liz says we got to use that. I want to try that out. So maybe people come up with some other way to do this, but it's outrageous what these prices are.
Yeah.
Right. And if there's anybody out there who wants to debate that, we'll bring you on to the program. Okay?
No, I think it's the fault of really the city of Tallahassee for not. It's just insane to me that city hasn't invested more to support the university more, to build more hotels, to just it feels like that city hasn't changed.
Would it change? I know supply and demand. But how many more hotels can they build to bring down the supply and demand?
Well, it just feels like the city itself hasn't developed at all. Like
I'll be honest, and I'm going to say this. A lot of people
do you feel
like this? When I was there between 70 and 74, Tallahassee and West Tennessee Street, the whole thing to me was much better. People, the old man, he's living in the past.
Yeah.
You drive along there and see how many go, well, COVID. I'm tired of excuses. It's not as good as it used to be. And so when you bring in recruits, you better watch which way you bring them in, what you show. Okay? Because some of the businesses, they're just run down, they're dirty. And I'm being honest, a lot of people are not going to like this if they see this, but I'll stand by it. Tell me I'm wrong.
I just think as a capital of a state, the government there hasn't done a good job to bring new businesses to the city and build the city up. It just, like, you look at that population chart, like I know it's in the middle of nowhere, but you got to bring jobs. You got to build it around a major university, bring it around the capital, no less.
They've done a great job down there in Madison Social.
Oh yeah,
like one street. Yeah. I mean, it's like one little area. Okay.
Yeah.
You should rebuild West Tennessee Street and make it more vibrant like it was back in the 70s, early 70s. It was vibrant. It was great. And I don't know. It's changed. I've changed, obviously. And some people are not going to like this rant. And that's okay. Come on the program. We'll allow you time. If you come on and discuss.
But I'm not complaining about the university. I'm complaining about the government. I'm complaining about the government not doing more.
The city of Tallahassee.
Yeah, the city of Tallahassee. I'm not complaining about the university.
No.
But yeah, so that was a little tangent there. But I thought that article and that post and the articles and linked to on Tomahawk Nation were very interesting, and why these changes were made, because it's economics. It's economics. And we don't have to be happy about it, but you as you saw, it's economics of filling the stadium. It's economics of how much the hotels are charging and the cost of it, and it goes together.
I think, like you said, I don't think they've done a great job new What is the new the fan experience of the 12,000 seats plus being moved away? What is the experience I'm going to have? How do I get into that section? Do I buy a ticket? What do you sit down in those sections? Is it a stand-up? I thought there was these stand-up tables right behind the.
All people know is that they're reducing seating. That's the only thing that's gone out there, and that's what's leaving a sour note in people's mouths. They've done a poor job of getting the information.
When those fans who held probably tickets for maybe 30 years, from family to family, generation to generation, and now they go and they see their seats are gone.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Yeah.
So,
all right, that'll do it. But hopefully when whoever's going, and if you're going, that would be great. Experience. Yeah, no, I think it'll be an awesome experience against Alabama. I bet it's already sold out, so I bet it'll be a great experience. So
we should do a estimate of what it would cost to go there for a 2-night weekend for the Alabama.
Well, if
I
don't care. If anyone's going, let us
care.
know how it's okay. Then you do the analysis. You go next show. Bring back the.
I gotta go shark fish.
But let us know if you're going. Let us know. Obviously, we'd love to talk to you after the game and let us know how the experience is. But yeah, I would love to know how it is and how it compares to the old experience of the old host a pre-renovated stadium. So, yeah, that'll do us for this week. Next week, we'll
I don't
probably
think we're gonna do a show.
Okay, well, I guess we're not doing a show. So yeah, that's the old man's. That's the old man's telling us.
Well, traveling then, right?
Yeah. We could potentially. So we'll let you guys know. Stay connected with us. Hit the bell so you let us know. But we may or may not. But our next show, if it's next week or the week after, will probably be on the receivers and tight ends. So we'll do our breakdown there, similar to tonight when we preview that position, and then we'll flip over and start doing the defense, which I'm excited about as well, because that's an interesting group. But I think the receivers, tight ends is something that is similar to the running backs, and it's kind of unknown. You got new players coming in, guys with high upside. Tight ends, too, with some of the freshmen like Chase Lofton will be fun to talk about, too. So thanks again for joining us tonight. We hope you have a great Thursday. Have a great Friday and a great weekend.
And remember, Hulk Hogan.
And we will see you guys soon. Take care of everyone. Stay safe out there. And as always, go Noles. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Seminole sideline 365. Feel the roar, we're coming alive. Garnet and gold in the battle we thrive. This is our house where legends arrive. Every